Gerrit Cole is the best fastball in the game. He throws it hard, it moves a lot, and he has great command of the pitch. In 2019, among qualified pitchers, he had the most valuable fastball both in total and per 100 pitches, but he only threw it 54% of the time. Plenty of other pitchers get away with throwing their fastball far more often, so why doesn't he just throw it every time? Well, he has a good curveball, decent changeup, and one of the best sliders in the game. And balancing the usage of those pitches makes each of them individually more effective. The question is, how much to throw each pitch? And that's where things get complicated. There's a host of variables to consider when calculating the optimal mix of pitches. The count, the game situation, the batter handedness, the sequence of pitches leading up, the batter's tendencies, the various locations you could throw the ball. It comes down to where every detail determines what's called a Nash equilibrium. Imagine we're playing rock, paper, scissors. Now, if I pre-commit to randomly choosing each of the three options exactly 1/3 of the time, then there's nothing you can do to win more or less than half the games we play. Because no matter what you choose, on any given throw, there's a 1/3 chance of you winning, a 1/3 chance of you losing, and 1/3 chance of us tying. But if for whatever reason I choose a strategy that doesn't weigh them equally, it would make sense for you to choose the counter to whichever option I'm throwing the most. Because no matter how imbalanced my selection is, you will win more games than you lose if you just keep countering what I do the most. So in rock, paper, scissors, both players randomly choosing each option 1/3 of the time is the Nash equilibrium point, because we could know each other's strategies and we wouldn't change them. The Nash equilibrium point is far more difficult to calculate in baseball because the inputs and outputs are more complicated. Rock, paper, scissors is very simple. 3 inputs, 3 outputs. But without making groupings and assumptions, in baseball it's pretty much impossible to get a large enough sample size to really make conclusions. But theoretically, every situation has a Nash equilibrium point, a balance of various pitches that is optimal. But not only pitch types, but every detail of what the pitcher is trying to do. For example, Gerrit Cole can use his 4-seam fastball plenty of ways. Inside, outside, high, low, nibbling at a corner, or right down the middle. While they may move similarly, they should be treated distinctly because they'll result in different distributions of outcomes. High fastballs generally get more fly balls and whiffs, while low fastballs generally get more called strikes and ground balls. While the pitcher may miss their spot, it's the thought of what they're trying to do that matters, even if that's just something subtle like telling themselves to keep the ball out of the zone. If it results in a different cluster of locations, it should be treated distinctly in determining the Nash equilibrium. Currently, this is all just kind of managed by pitchers and catchers. They take the available information to them in and turn it into attack plans for batters in a given lineup. And in general, that'll do. But then again, in recent years, numerous pitchers have made drastic leaps just from aggregate changes to their pitch mixes, showing there's a lot of room for improvement. After joining the Astros, Gerrit Cole traded sinkers for high 4-seamers and breaking balls, turning him into the strikeout machine we know today. Granted, these came paired with some changes in how his pitches moved, but it's clear he was being misused in 2017, and the Astros spotted the opportunity. One more thing on the theoretical side, the Nash equilibrium is a solution to a scenario in which both sides know each other's strategies. Now in baseball, you may have an idea of the opponent's strategy based on scouting reports, but you can't be sure. Imagine a 2-pitch pitcher with a fastball and a curveball. As a default, the pitcher wants to be mixing their pitches at equilibrium level. But if the batter's expectations are significantly off from equilibrium, it makes sense for the pitcher to shift their tendencies in the other direction. So, if a batter's seeing too much on curveballs, the pitcher should want to throw more fastballs than equilibrium would suggest. Likewise, if the pitcher's throwing too many fastballs, then that's what the batter should sit on. It almost becomes a guessing game dance around equilibrium, where the pitcher is trying to be on the opposite side of the line from the batter, while the batter is trying to be on the same side. So until both sides become nearly perfect at calculating these equilibriums, this mental side of the game will persist. Jamie Moyer and Greg Max were notoriously good at being a step ahead of batters, throwing it right down the middle when batters were taking, or getting them to chase when they were overly aggressive. There is a lot of ground to be gained. Also, teams like the Rays and Astros have got tons of value by trading for misused players and fixing them. Players like Gerrit Cole, Tyler Glasnow, and Charlie Morton serve as stark examples, but there's also value to be extracted on the margins. Every player can benefit from this on some level, both batters and pitchers alike. Getting those marginal gains and optimizing everybody's ability would be the real prize. But then again, that's only in a world of perfect information, and quantifying all the variables requires sample sizes you just don't see in the MLB. We may never reach that point of perfection, and I'm okay with that, because knowing that players are good at that adds to the mystique of them. And if you don't have Gerrit Cole stuff, then the game theory of pitch selection is the X factor giving hope to all.